Okay. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our first appearance, misdemeanor calendar with the State Court of Fulton County, also called the Expedited Accusation Calendar. These are cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon thereafter, their cases were formally accused by the prosecutor. Today, when I address your case, I will let you know what is your new accusation number, the charges brought against you, to appoint counsel where necessary, to set a bond, and also to give you a new court date if applicable. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to represent you. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Number 14, Mr. Young.
This is Stephen Jillian Young, accused of criminal trespass from June 18th, 2025. Mr. Young, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be, who is our public defense counsel today? Ms. Chatay, Mr. Chatay, or Ms. Hoda?
Geddes.
Mr. Geddes? Mr. Geddes, are you representing Mr. Stephen Young?
I am, Your Honor. I apologize. I'm having some technical issues.
No problem. Can you see and hear us all right?
Yes, I can see you and hear you now.
Great, thank you. All right, Mr. Howard, any prize?
63. Got an open burglary, 24 PI 002818. I got an open case. It says 2016 solicitation of sodomy trespass, 16 CR 008248C. Open shoplifting. Another open shoplifting. On probation for ag assault with intent to rob. Ag battery, ag assault, and robbery as well.
When were those convictions?
2020. They gave 9 years probation. And for a burglary, 24 SC 003966. That was as of December of 2024. They gave 9 years, 3 months probation for that.
I'm sorry, 24 SC 966?
003966.
Okay. And that's probation for burglary.
Correct.
Thank you. Right. Mr. Scirocco, briefly, what is the recommendation?
Yes, Judge. The recommendation for the state is going to be a $1,500 surety with MHET. Stay away from 3030 Headland Drive, Southwest Atlanta. That's the Kroger. And no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And just briefly on the facts here, law enforcement was dispatched to that address on June 18th in reference to a criminal trespass call. Officer made contact with security there, who explained the defendant was told to vacate the property but wouldn't leave. And the officer reported that the defendant was sharpening a knife and slamming it on his motorized wheelchair while refusing to leave. And the officer observed the defendant in the parking lot. He tried to walk away as the officer was trying to make contact. And the defendant stated he was waiting for an unknown woman who owed him $3 for helping her out. The officer advised he wasn't supposed to be there, given the previous criminal trespass warning, and was placed under arrest.
Okay.
As pretrial, you've heard much of the history. I want to make sure there was a 2022 robbery and ag assault as well, and there's older criminal trespasses. He is as clearly a convicted felon with a 2024 FTA as well. So this is obviously concerning behavior in a public space. Given the history here, there's several criminal trespass convictions, among others. Those were 2015 and 2016, 2020.
I think his 24 FTA is probably going to cinch it. Okay, thank you. Mr. Geddes, your client has a 2024 FTA, which unfortunately disqualifies him from a signature bond at the present time. Anything else to add?
Can I say something?
A few things, Your Honor. My client has expressed to me that he's 38 years old. He's lived in Georgia for the vast majority of his life. He has a number of family members residing in Georgia, including his mother, his father, and some brothers. My understanding is that he does have an address in Decatur that he'd be able to stay at if he were released. He has expressed to me that he has some medical issues. My understanding is that he may have suffered a seizure recently, and that he may have been suffering from that while he's been in custody at the jail. My understanding is that from the paperwork I have, it suggests that he was already given a $600 bond. I'm not sure whether or not that's accurate. If it is, I understand the court saying he might not be eligible for a UJR. So if not, I would just ask for the lowest possible bond at this point.
All right. Would a bonding company allow for a $600 bond? I'm not sure. So anyways, courtroom 2, please unmute. Mr. Young, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Highly recommend you reserve your right to remain silent and only speak with your attorney after court. Otherwise, you do understand you have open cases as well as open probation matters.
Can I please speak, please? Can I tell what the chief judge? Can I please say it? Can I just tell what the chief told me to say? I just want to say what the chief jailer told me to say. That's all. Can I tell you what the chief jailer told me to ask you, Judge?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
May I ask you what the chief jailer of the jail told me to ask you when I got in court? He told me to ask you something.
I don't know.
Can I ask you what he told me to ask you?
All right, Deputy, we are done. The bond is going to be set at $1,000 surety. Stay away from the Kroger at 3030 Headland Drive.
Excuse me, Judge, may I ask you a question? Please.
What is the question?
Okay.
One last time. Articulate your question clearly.
I apologize. Okay. So I just spoke to the chief jailer and I told him, you probably not going to grant me a signature bond. And he said, if I'm able to get in front of you and get a $10 bond because you can't give me a signature bond, and I get a $10 bond, he will pay my bond because he knows me and he knows my past history. I haven't been in this jail in at least, I'd say 4 months. I haven't even been here in this jail. So
I understand, sir. I understand. But please listen to this very carefully. I'm not going to grant you a $10 bond. I'm going to grant you a $1,000 surety bond. If you decide to post bond, that would be about $100 to $150 to a surety company, or you can pay for it out of your own pocket. We'll see you in court. I'm sorry, what's our next court date? What's our next court date, please, Ms.
Judge.
Sorry?
July the 3rd.
July the 3rd. Okay, thank you. And Ms. Lewis, we're going to reset this case, Mr. Young's new case, along with this other open case, 16 CR 008248C to July the 3rd.
Repeat the case number from Judge 16.
Sure.
CR.
16 R 008248C. To stay away from the Kroger at 3030 Headland Drive and no illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. We may recommend a social worker visit. Thank you. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Number 12, Sims.
Franklin Sims, accused of 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Mr. Sims, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Geddes. Any comments?
Second arrest. You got to open driving without a valid license from this year. Second adult arrest, but that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Scarabba?
Thank you, Judge. And just to supplement a little bit, I did see, I think this is his third. I saw a burglary in the first arrest from 2015. I don't have a disposition for that.
Okay.
But this incident took place December 15th, 2024 at 2423 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta. Law enforcement responded to a dispute call at the location and upon arrival spoke with the victim, in this case, Miss Craigriana Shepard, who explained that the defendant, her father's child, and the father of her child, excuse me, and her ex-boyfriend was involved in a physical dispute with her while the victim was cleaning. She approached the defendant, told him to, please move to another location so she can sweep. He was sitting on the floor. He said, BITCH, stop talking to me, and got up and went to the bathroom. She went there as well, at which point he grabbed her by the neck and pushed her out of the way. Then the victim got back up, followed him to the living room where he grabbed her again and then threw her, this time to the ground. While she was on the ground, he walked out the door. Children were apparently present during this incident as well, and a warrant was issued for his arrest as he was not on scene when officers arrived. We've spoken with the victim. She confirmed that she and the defendant are not in a relationship, and they used to live together, but no longer. They share a child. And she confirmed the events in the warrant, explained the defendant has left the residence, but they've still been co-parenting with their kid. She stated that nothing of this sort has happened before and that there hasn't been violence since. She said she's not in fear of him and wants to continue contact. We would ask the court sound for her when appropriate.
Ms. Shepherd, if you're on Zoom, this is the time to unmute. I see someone on an iPad. If you'd like to say something,
Yes.
this is the time to unmute and start your video.
I don't want to say anything.
Okay, thank you.
The state's asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, Judge, with FIB, no further violent contact with Ms. Shepherd. Stay away from 2423 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta, that apartment complex, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
Thank you. Mr. Sims, on each count is going to be $1,500. This is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Level 2. You'll report to pretrial twice a month. No further violent contact with Ms. Shepherd. You may continue to share in any kind of visitation or parenting plan that you share with Ms. Shepherd. Otherwise, you can file a legitimation action to get a court order for visitation and joint visitation and joint custody. That's up to you. But in the meantime, you cannot return to 2423 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. If you plan to exercise visitation with the mother of the child, you will have to both select a designated spot that does not include the mother's home. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Within 30 days of being released, you will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program, and you must show proof to your pretrial officer that you have enrolled in such a classes. This will be a series of 26 classes, and you will have to attend each and every one of them without missing or skipping, and you are to pay for those classes out of your own pocket. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons, no firearms. Thank you. Oh, and also within 30 days, give us your current mailing address because we'll need to send you your summons.
Yeah, excuse me, that's third party.
No, not third party. They can continue. He just can't be at her apartment or the apartment complex.
Thank you.
Ellen address, I need to get Ellen address.
Yes, you would need to come to court at the clerk's office once you're released and come and provide your current mailing address in writing with the clerk's office.
All right.
But don't forget the classes. Thank you.
Number 8, home.
This is State versus Jacques Holmes, accused of criminal trespass and misdemeanor stalking from June 13th of this year. Case number 25 CR 003415D. Mr. Holmes, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is presently Mr. Chate. Any priors?
27 on probation, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, sale of marijuana, possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender, 16 SC 143-917. I think he had an FS charge for ag stalking. Unless I'm wrong.
All right. He's also got an open aggravated stalking case number 25 PI 004898 involving the same alleged victim. The underlying protective order appears to be from Superior Court 25 CV 008171. Mr. Skiroko, what's the recommendation?
Thank you, Judge. This incident took place June 13th of this year at around the intersection of Church Street and Washington Road in East Point. Law enforcement responded to East Point Law Enforcement Center in reference to a damage to a vehicle. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the victim in this case, Miss Alisa Bowden, ALISA, who explained that the defendant, who is her ex-boyfriend, had damaged her vehicle. While leaving the police station and traveling southbound on Church Street, the vehicle was sitting in a red light when she observed the defendant traveling westbound and making a right turn onto Church Street. The defendant made a U-turn and pulled up very close to the passenger side of her vehicle. He stuck his arm out of the driver's side window and then struck her passenger side mirror several times with a closed fist, causing damage. The officer observed the damage to that mirror and the incident. They were able to review the camera located at the intersection, that footage, and that corroborated the victim's statements about the incident. Warrant was issued for the defendant's arrest at that time. We've spoken with the victim here. She confirmed that she and the defendant are no longer in a relationship. They don't live together, and they don't share children. She explained she was on her way to work when she noticed the defendant's car was in front of her, and said the defendant tried to block her in and was chasing her. She explained she called the police, and they told her to go to East Point to file the report. The defendant followed her to the police station, and he also tried to file a report against her at the time. She explained that after she made the report, the officers let them both go, and the defendant continued to follow her and tried to run her off the road and damaged her mirror. She explained that after this incident, she filed for a TPO, that's 25 CV 008171, and the defendant followed her to the courthouse when she was filing for this report, and the staff had to hide her and escort her to the courtroom. She explained that after the TPO was granted, the defendant showed up to her job at 511 Philip Lee Drive in Atlanta, and he was arrested for aggravated stalking for violating that TPO. She wants him to get an ankle monitor because she is confident he's not going to listen to any of the court's orders. She explained that she is in fear for her safety. Now I know this was a reset. If she is online, we would ask the court sound for her. But I mean, this currently in jail on no bond for that aggravated stalking. You're well aware of the facts here, and that took place, of course, after this case and after she took out a TPO against it. So,
but you and I can agree that the ex parte TPO has not been served yet. I mean, I'm looking at the case, so, but they can try to serve him at the jail. That's entirely up to the sheriff's office. Okay, thank you.
Well, we're concerned for her safety, Judge, and there's an obvious substantial risk of reoffense here. And given the open case, the context, everything, we're recommending a $10,000 total surety, no further contact with Elisa Bowden, at least 200 yards, stay away from her home, her family, her work, no contact by third party, email, phone, text, any of that, and no drugs, alcohol, and certainly no weapons while out on bond.
Okay, maybe Ms. Bowden can address the service issue. Ms. Bowden, please unmute. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right, Ms. Bowden, do you agree with the prosecutor that he should stay away from you, not have any contact with you, and perhaps even be on a monitor?
Yes, but he has been served and he issued the TPO paperwork.
Oh, he did? Okay, then this
Yes, was away.
Well, the sheriff.
This was from. I'm sorry. This was from June 16, 2025. He got arrested on the 18th.
Okay.
He was aware and he signed on the paperwork.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. All right, appreciate it. Mr. Chate, you may mute your screen and switch your video off, please, Ms. Bowden. Thank you. I'll let you speak very shortly, sir, but you need to let your attorney speak for you. And yeah, I got the felony information already. Mr. Chate?
Thank you, Judge Law. Mr. Holmes is 40 years old. He's lived in Atlanta for the past 19 years. He tells me he also has some family in the area. He has two brothers. One is serving in the Army and the other one works at Emory. So he has connections here. He is a high school graduate, and after graduating from high school, he studied culinary arts for about 2 years. And my understanding is that for the past 2.5 years, he has worked in an industrial packaging company. So he designs labels and makes the actual packaging that goes around food. He also tells me that he is a diabetic and he had a stroke, for which he sees a doctor at Emory as well. So, given those factors, Your Honor, I ask this court to set the lowest possible bond for Mr. Holmes.
Okay. On the criminal trespass, it's going to be a $1,000 surety. On the stalking, it's going to be a $5,000 surety. His total bond is going to be a $6,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Alisa Bowden. He's to stay 200 yards away from Miss Bowden, from her property, from her home, from her workplace, her immediate family members, or wherever she's physically located. He's also to be equipped. Just 1 second, I'll let you speak. I need to finish my bond. And he also needs to be equipped with an ankle monitor that will be equipped at the time that he is released on bond. And this monitor will be with Mr. Holmes for a minimum period of 12 months at his expense. He's not to communicate with Miss Bowden or any of her friends or family members or any third party through mail, email, in person, any kind of computer device or phone device, and also on social media. All right, courtroom 2, please unmute. Mr. Holmes, you do understand you have a pending criminal case for aggravated stalking in which you were granted no bond with the same conditions with the exception of the ankle monitor. You also have this open case right now involving the same victim. And if you choose to say anything about either of these cases or any other open cases with relation to Ms. Bowden, your statements can and will be used not only in the present case, but also in the felony case.
Okay.
But if you want to waive your right to remain silent, that's to your detriment and definitely against your attorney's advice.
No, I like to speak, Your Honor.
Mr. Holmes, I advise you not to say anything about your case here. This hearing is being recorded and the prosecutor is watching you. If you have questions about bonds or bond procedures, you can call the main line to our office. Okay, but if you do want to talk about your case, you're doing it at your own peril.
Yeah, it's what I have to say something because this is my freedom. So I have to say something.
All right, I advise you not to.
All right. Mr. Holmes, that is very good advice, but if you decide to waive your right to remain silent, please understand, I agree with Mr. Chate. It will be to your detriment and to your peril.
All right, can I just ask you something, Your Honor? A TPO was supposed to be granted. This has something to do with the TPO period. The TPO was supposed to be up on the 16th, right? Okay, first off, I wanted to bring it to your attention. When somebody is around the other person and they have the TPO on what does that mean? What does that violate it for both, or does that violate it for the person that they put it on? I just like to ask the question because she's been around me for the whole year. I'm
sorry, what is the question?
So do she violate for being around somebody for the time if she the one put it on the TPO on the person? Do she violate when she comes around?
I cannot answer that question. I'm not certain what order you're referring to.
If she the one put a TPO on me and she comes around me, for instance, because it's 12 months. That's how much how long the TPO is for.
TPO requires you to stay away from her.
Okay, so if I stay away from her and she's been in my location, which is I stay in East Point 3124, who is who coming around who? I stay at 3124. She's not from East Point.
Was she in front of you in your presence?
Yes, she was. She has. I can show you pictures and everything. She was with me on June 7th. June 7th was her birthday. She was blowing out candles in my face.
Did she speak with you on June 16th in person?
Did she what?
Did she speak with you on June 16th in person?
No, she had been at my house. She had been at my house to follow up.
Answer the question very specifically. On June 16th, 2025, did Miss Bowden speak with you in person?
Well, we had a conversation the day before, but it wasn't.
Okay, that answers the question. No, she's not in violation.
So she can be, okay. That's
Thank
correct.
you. So please remember to be equipped with the ankle monitor for a minimum period of 12 months at your expense. Unfortunately, until you make bond in the felony matter, you would still have to remain at the Fulton County Jail. Your next court date is going to be July 3rd.
Position number one, Bostic.
Larry Bostic is accused of criminal trespass from June 19th of this year, case number 25CR 3434C. Mr. Bostic, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Chate. Any priors, Ms. Howe?
96. On probation out of the cab, trespass. Shoplifting. That was as of May 1st. Got an open possession of a Schedule 2, possession of marijuana. 24 PI 002 191. I got FTAs from this year, 2 from 2023. 2023 trespass, 2022 trespass. We got a lot of theft convictions.
All right, thank you. Ms. Harrison, what's the state's recommendation?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 19th. Officers were dispatched to a criminal trespass at 3221 Peachtree Road, which is the CVS. The call was in relation to the manager seeing a known shoplifter, and when he entered the store, because he had been previously trespassed on October 11th, officers were called. And at the time when they arrived on the scene, they were able to locate the defendant in the parking lot at a short distance and place him under arrest. The state's recommendation is $1,000 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And that'll be off the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Chate?
Thank you, Your Honor. I asked the court to consider the possibility of a signature bond. Mr. Bostic is 69 years old. He tells me that he is on Social Security and is currently not working. He's a lifelong Atlanta resident. And in terms of his family, he has one sister and one brother that lives in the Atlanta area. For those reasons, that's why he requests a signature bond.
$1,000 surety bond. Stay away from the CVS store at 3221 Peachtree Road. With a 96 arrest cycle and 3 FTAs within the last 5 years, he is disqualified from a signature bond. Unfortunately, his history does not bode well. Thank you. Next court date is July 3rd. Next case, Deputy.
Number three.
Okay. This is State versus Thomas Colton, accused of criminal trespass and stalking from June 18th of this year. Accusation number is 25CR 3435E. Mr. Colton, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. Chate. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
33. Got an open shoplifting in state court, I'm sorry. Got an open battery. 25 SC 003 492. 2024 failure to appear. 2024 shoplifting conviction. 2024 trespass conviction, 2 of them. 2023 failure to appear. 2020 simple assault trespass conviction. 2019 simple battery trespass damage conviction. I'll stop there.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 18th, officers responded to a domestic dispute call at 320 Fairborn Road. 2 units responded. 1 unit actually was able to detain the defendant near the incident location, and the other units approached the incident location and were met at the top of the hill by Ms. Jasmine Marshall, who ran up to the patrol vehicle in distress that someone had just entered into her apartment through the back window. At that point, when she heard that entrance, she ran out of the unit. Officers arrived at the unit and they did see the defendant exiting the back door. So when the officers arrived, they were able to detain him shortly around, but yeah. We spoke to the victim. Officers spoke to the victim on the scene. She stated that she hadn't given permission for the defendant to be in her home. He does not live there. They were previously in a relationship and had been separated for 5 months. They did have prior incidents where the defendant had assaulted her, and they, at the time, were not in contact at all. When officers were speaking to the defendant, his words were slurred and his eyes were bloodshot red. We want to bring to your honor's attention that the defendant has a prior battery family violence arrest, 25 SC 003492, which was against this victim. That case, your honor, was actually indicted on May 13th, and 5 days later, the defendant was actually breaking into the victim's home. The state's recommendation, in light of the defendant's prior criminal history and these incidents with the same victim, is $4,000 cash bond. We're asking for a stay away from the victim's residence, no contact at all with the victim, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And we'll sound from Ms. Marshall, though I don't think she's joined us in court today. That'll be all for the state, your honor.
Right, and I'm sorry, stay away from where?
Her address is the Fairburn Road, 320 Fairburn Road. Yes, your honor. The unit looks like M7.
Is it an apartment complex?
Yes, I can get you the name of it.
Okay. Mr. Chate?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Colton is 34 years old. He tells me he is a lifelong resident of Atlanta and that his entire family lives here in the area with him. He got a GED, and for the past 4 years, he has been working at a temp services agency. He's been doing that part-time, and he's also had a second job doing packaging, and he's been doing that for about 4 months now. He also tells me that currently he is homeless and he wants to get into the PAT program, and he would not be able to afford the bond that the state is asking for. For those reasons, Your Honor, we ask this court to consider the lowest possible surety bond.
Okay.
And Your Honor, the apartment complex is Country Oaks Apartment.
Country Oaks Apartment. Thank you. On the criminal trespass is going to be $1,500. On the stalking matter is going to be $4,500. This is going to be a $6,000 surety bond. No further contact with Jasmine Marshall, and stay 500 yards away from the entire apartment complex at Country Oaks Place, which is 320 Fairburn Road. The entire complex, including Ms. Marshall's unit. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. His next court date is going to be July 3rd, and we're going to reset this case as well as his other open shoplifting case, and that's going to be 25 CR 009, oh, excuse me, 000935E. Thank you.
Judge, what was the amount on the criminal trespass?
$1,500, and the stalking is $4,500 for a total of a $6,000 surety bond. Reset dates July 3rd.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Saint Serena HCDC. I have positioned the ladies here with me. If you can read them, they're right.
Oh, okay. Sorry, which positions do you have?
Position 13, and then I have Miss Anderson that was on the bind over, but she's not on the calendar.
Okay. All right. Good.
Your Honor, Miss Anderson's case was NOD'd.
NOD? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any other matters holding her?
Let me check. I believe there may be. Give me just 1 second.
All right. Good afternoon. These are for the folks at ACDC. My name is Judge Law, and we're going to be addressing these new cases that have been brought against or possibly brought against you. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. If there is a pending case with misdemeanor charges against you, we will address those cases, and then I'll appoint counsel to represent you as well as to set a bond. Okay, and is position 13 first? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and this would be State versus Khadijah Shani Wright, accused of 3 misdemeanor offenses stemming from a traffic matter. She's charged with following too closely, driving hit and run, failure of the driver to return or stop at the scene of the accident, and failure to report an accident. Alleged incident date appears to be March 19th, 2025. Ms. Wright, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Chatay or Mr. Geddes?
I interviewed her, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Geddes. All right. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Right, fourth adult, 2024 disorderly conduct, 2021 theft by taking, simple battery. The booking said homeless.
The booking says what?
Homeless.
Okay. Mr. Scarapa?
Yes, this incident took place on March 19th, Judge. This was at Old National Highway where that meets 285, that on-ramp there in College Park. The defendant rear-ended another vehicle while the victim was stopped at a traffic light at the location. Officer made contact with the victim, Miss Casey McCormick, who explained that she was traveling southbound, stopped at the light there when her vehicle was suddenly rear-ended. There's damage to the left back driver's side bumper there. Both drivers got out of the roadway, pulled into a gas station, and the defendant proceeded to flee the scene at that point. The victim, fortunately, was able to take a picture of the license plate number of that vehicle that hit her, and through the investigation, determined that that vehicle was rented to the defendant from March 1st of this year to March 21st. The defendant admitted, once she was able to be contacted by law enforcement, to be involved in the accident. She stated she rear-ended the left back driver's side bumper of that vehicle and explained that after moving to the Chevron gas station, she had a conversation with the other driver, that being the victim here, and claimed that Miss McCormick told her that she could just leave. Law enforcement gave the defendant several opportunities to come and make a witness statement, which she said she'd do. She didn't, and warrants were issued for her arrest. State's asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and we would sound for Miss McCormick at this time.
Right. Casey McCormick, if you are present, this is the time to unmute and start your video. I don't think I see anyone by that name. Mr. Geddes, is your client got a verifiable address? Because that's going to hinge on whether she gets pretrial bond.
She did express to me that she's staying at an address with her grandmother in College Park, Your Honor.
All right. And do you have that address?
I don't have the exact address, Your Honor, no.
All right. I will need it. So, Miss Wright, what is your address where you're living right now? Yeah. What's the address?
5680 Montilly Circle.
I'm sorry, you're saying that too fast.
I'm sorry, 5680 Montilly Circle.
Montilly? How do you spell that?
Montilly.
Montilly Circle.
Yes, ma'am.
And where's the city and zip?
College Park, and the zip code is 30349.
And what's your grandmother's name?
Linda Harris.
And are you currently residing with her?
Yes, ma'am. Me and my son.
Okay. Mr. Geddes, on each count is going to be $1,000. Is going to be a $3,000 signature bond for pretrial services. She will need to report to pretrial once a month. No driving unless she has a valid driver's license. Valid driver's license, adequate insurance on the vehicle, and a proper registration on the vehicle. If she rents the vehicle, she must make sure that there is adequate insurance on the vehicle and that she has a current valid driver's license. Failure to comply can result in her bond being revoked and amended to a $3,000 surety bond or cash bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and Miss Lewis or Miss Grace, did you get her address?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, I got it. I'll
Okay.
update in the system, thank you.
Ms. Harrison, can we confirm that the matter against Ms. Anderson is NOD?
Yes, Your Honor, it's NOD. She does have two holds. It looks like one out of Henry and one out of Union City.
Okay. Deputy CDC, did you get that information?
Yes, I did. Your Honor, I don't really know what position, but Miss Harley, she was on yesterday's calendar. She's on it again today. Do we have to bring her?
I don't know. I wasn't doing the calendar yesterday. May I have a jailing number or a case number?
Her
Excuse me, Judge, this is Ms. Lewis. What happened the other day was that she had two charges of theft by shoplifting, and only one was addressed on the counter. The other one didn't make it on the counter, so they need to address the other theft by shoplifting charge.
And what was
That's
the
what
bond on the one that was addressed yesterday?
They both went underneath the same incident date at the same location, I think at Walmart's on the same day. Only one was filed down, and should have been two. So they gave her a bond on count two, and I think count one didn't have one at the time.
Number?
And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was $1,000 good bond.
Case number?
1 second.
Ms. Grace, you got the case number in here?
Where did she go?
No,
I do not, I'm sorry.
The case number for the Ms. Hart.
25 CR 003421 E.
Thank you.
Yes, I do, sorry about that.
Ms. Lewis, are you doing the proposed bond orders? No, that would be Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Okay. Just give me a minute. And Ms. Harrison, was it second count also involving the Walmart at Wynwood Parkway?
Yes, Your Honor. They were both at Wynwood, the Walmart at Wynwood Parkway.
Okay. On count two will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Same conditions. And her case is reset to SAP on July 3rd.
Thank you.
So she has $1,000 on each charge now.
It's $1,000 good bond on the case, yes, on the charge count one, and then the new count is $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Same conditions.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, moving on to courtroom. Okay, so ACDC, we do not need to bring her over. And are there any other matters at ACDC?
Your Honor.
All right, have a good day. Thank you. Courtroom two, who do we have?
Number 10, Johnson.
This is State versus Timothy Isaiah Johnson, case number 25 CR 3442J, accused of driving hit and run, failure of the driver to return or stop at the scene of the accident. This appears to be from April 1st, 2025. And Mr. Johnson, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Geddes. Any priors?
Johnson, I got 8 total. On probation for ag assault. Open case out of car, possession of a firearm by convicted felon, a felony first offender. Open case out of Clayton, simple battery DV, 2023, simple battery NOLO, 19 failure to appear, 18 obstruction conviction.
Thank you.
That's it.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On April 1st, officers responded to a motor vehicle crash on Spur 14 near Buffington Road ramp. They met with the occupants of what's identified as driver vehicle 2 on the scene, who advised them that they were traveling, and vehicle 1, which was identified as the defendant's vehicle, blue Tesla, struck the side of driver 2's car, causing the vehicle to spin out of control and hit the guardrail. At the scene, officers were informed that the driver of vehicle 2 was pregnant and required medical assistance and had to be taken to the hospital. And at the time of the crash, a witness actually followed the defendant's vehicle for a distance and tried to get the registration information for officers, and he was able to get that. Officers followed up on the investigation on May 14th, and were contacted by the owners of the at-fault vehicle, who identified them that a claim had been filed against his insurance policy, advising of this incident. So he informed officers at that time that the vehicle was used on Turo, and on that particular date and time, the renter of the vehicle was the defendant. And officers were able to confirm via the cameras in the Tesla that the vehicle was operated by the defendant at the time of the collision. Based on the defendant's criminal history and the severity of causing a motor vehicle collision and leaving the scene, the state's recommendation here is a $4,000 surety bond, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Geddes?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. My client is 25 years old. He is a lifelong resident of Georgia. He's expressed to me he has a multitude of family members living in Georgia, including his mother, who lives in Clayton County. He said he'd be staying with her if he were released. He's not currently working. My understanding is that he was actually pulled from Cobb County, where he was in custody there for September, it looks like. So he's already spent a significant amount of time in custody before being brought over here today. My understanding is that this is the only charge that's still holding him at this point, Your Honor. So I would just ask that the court consider giving him the lowest possible bond so that he can get out, seek gainful employment, and continue living with his family.
Okay. Bond set at $1,500 is the surety bond. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. Next court date will be July 3rd.
Position by Mr. Jackson.
The state versus Jared DeAndre Jackson, accused of simple battery family violence from June 17th of this year. Accusation 25 CR 3437E. Mr. Jackson, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Geddes. Any priors?
No.
First arrest? Is that correct, Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 17th, officers were dispatched to 3246 Chestnut Drive, apartment 13, in reference to trouble unknown. Dispatch actually heard that she stated that she heard a female screaming on the call that she was being choked, heard a physical tussle, and then the 911 call hung up. Officers increased their response to a rapid response due to this, responding to the scene with lights and sirens. Once they were on the scene, they met with Ms. Printeria Nolan, the victim in this case, and the defendant, Jared Jackson. Ms. Nolan appeared visibly upset and was panting and breathing heavily. Officers asked her if she needed medical attention. She declined. She informed officers that nothing physically occurred between her and the defendant, contradicting what was stated to the dispatcher on the 911 call. Officers spoke with the defendant, and he confirmed that it was just a verbal dispute and nothing physical happened. We spoke to the victim today, and she stated that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location. And they share one child together. She denies that she was choked by the defendant. She stated that she called the police because he was yelling and she wanted him to leave the residence. She stated there was never a physical altercation between them, and this was a misunderstanding. She's not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact. Your Honor, we were able to access the defendant's jail calls, and we were able to hear a conversation where the defendant and the victim were speaking back and forth to each other, and the defendant informed the victim that he heard her tell the dispatchers, he was able to listen to the call, where she told the dispatchers that he put his hands around her neck. And he said, I thought you didn't say that. You didn't have to say that. You know what to say and what not to say. She further, proceeds to tell him that most of the times that, all of the times that she's been arrested have been due to him. Then they discuss her selling a gun to post his bond, which they ultimately decided not to do. But I want to bring that to your attention because in the warrant for the arrest, the police actually made an arrest Despite this being the defendant's first arrest, they made the arrest due to the history of the calls at that residence and the nature of what was stated on the 911 call. So the state's recommendation in light of all of these things is a $10,000 surety bond. We're asking for no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, and we're asking that one of the conditions of the defendant's bond will be to surrender the gun that they have in the home to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office and have the victim or the defendant, the victim, I'm sorry, produce evidence of that to the jail prior to the defendant's release as a condition of him having no firearms. And we'll sound for Ms. Nolan at this time, Your Honor, and that'll be all for the state.
Fronteria Nolan, if you'd like to contribute, this is the time to unmute and start your video. I guess not. Mr. Geddes, anything to add?
Yes, Your Honor. My client's 25
Sorry,
years
I
old.
wasn't. Oh, sorry. I didn't know how to work it. Sorry, this is my first time on Zoom.
All
I'm
right.
sorry, and could you repeat the question or what?
Please start your video, and if you want to say anything, we'll need to see you as well.
Okay, 1 second. My phone's a little cracked, so give me 1 second. I'm trying to get it. Okay, I can't get to my video. Okay, well, I don't know. Never mind.
All right. If you can't get to your video, then please mute your screen.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Geddes?
Thank you, Your Honor. As I said, my client's 25 years old. He's lived his entire life in Georgia. He expressed to me he has multiple family members living in Georgia, including his parents and 2 sisters. My understanding is that at the time this took place, the 2 of them were living together. However, he did express to me he has a cousin in Fayetteville whose address he would intend to stay at if he were required to stay away from the address as part of a stay away condition. He is currently working through Delta. My understanding is he's had that job for about 2 years at this point. He's a high school graduate. Considering he has no prior history, Your Honor, we're just asking you to impose the lowest appropriate bond in this case.
All right, thank you. And is your client on the lease at Chestnut Drive with Miss Nolan?
That I'm not certain of, Your Honor, but he did tell me that he has as I said, he has another address in Fayetteville he'd be able to stay at if necessary.
And does your client own the firearm that's allegedly at the apartment?
That I have no knowledge of.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, he does. But yes to both questions.
Miss Lewis, could you please remove Nolan from the Zoom? Thank you. All right, on the simple battery family violence, it's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 2. No further contact with Fronteria Nolan. No further contact with any children that he shares with Miss Nolan. If he wants to have contact with the child or children he shares, he must file a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court and obtain a court order to establish joint visitation, joint custody, and any other matters such as child support, insurance, etc. He's allowed a one-time visit to the Chestnut Drive location in East Point to retrieve his personal belongings, and he must surrender both firearms, that's 2 firearms, to the police authorities within 72 hours of being released. He must show proof to the pretrial officer that he has surrendered for destruction 2 firearms that he retrieves from the Chestnut Drive property. No illegal drugs, no firearms, no alcoholic beverages. He will update the court with his new address in Fayetteville within 30 days of being released. He's also to complete 2 anger awareness classes with pretrial services. Mr. Jackson, you can sign up for your bond. You don't have to pay it, but these are some really strict conditions. You have to report to pretrial twice a month. You have to show proof that the firearms have been destroyed, and you have to stay away and have no contact with Miss Nolan and the children. If you want to have contact with the children, you must file a legitimation action. If you violate these conditions and it's discovered by the authorities, they have a right to revoke your signature bond and amend it to either a cash bond or a surety bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, and best of luck with your case.
Your Honor, before we go any further, there are 4 people that are not on the calendar. It's Torrin Jones, Romaine Lee, Daryl Scott, and Arkeem McDowell, and not on the calendar.
Okay, and do we have booking numbers or case numbers for these 4 individuals?
I actually have booking numbers and case numbers for all, Your Honor. They were transfers, so I can go over those with you now if you like.
Can you put them in the chat to
Absolutely.
so that, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can address those. But in the meantime, courtroom 2, do we have any other cases that are on the calendar? I have Ernest Coer, Coer, position 2. Courtroom 2.
Stand by, Your Honor. They trying to find out why they upgrade. I'm trying to explain to them what, I'm not sure.
How much are the upgrade?
I've got position 2, position 4, 5, 6, 7. Position 11. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 more cases on the calendar, and I've got 4 possible add-ons. Okay.
Your Honor, just to let courtroom 2 know, Jermaine Lee was upgraded to a possession of a Schedule 2 controlled substance, and the remaining misdemeanor charges went along with that case. It now has 25 PI 004944. Cream McDowell was upgraded based on multiple shoplifting convictions. He is now a recidivist shoplifter, and his case number is 25 PI 004949. Daryl Scott was upgraded for felony theft by shoplifting based on multiple previous convictions for theft by shoplifting. His case number is now 25 PI 004948. Courtroom 2, was there anyone else?
What about Mr. Tucker?
Lee, Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee, I just announced that when he was upgraded because of possession of Schedule 2 controlled substance under 25 PI 004944, he will be going to felony first appearance tomorrow morning. Ms. McLeod Javonta Tucker was upgraded to a felony family violence battery under 25 PI 004934. My understanding is he went to court this morning because he also had aggravated assault charges, that these 3 cases were combined under one PI number.
Okay, I understand. I was wondering because I had 2 clients that I just hadn't heard either of them. That was Mr. Taryn Jones and Mr. Tucker. So I guess that concludes my business before the court today.
And Ms. McLeod, just to let you know, Mr. Torrin Jones has been reset for 1 day. There's an aggravated assault strangulation warrant that is being taken out for that will be levied on him this evening, and that will send him to felony first appearance tomorrow morning.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
Thank
May
you.
I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, Ms. McLeod. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So,
Position number 4, Daly.
okay, thank you. This is Clayton Daly, accused of criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and willful obstruction of an officer from June 19th of this year. Case number 25 CR 3436Y. Mr. Daly, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Chate. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
4, 2024 suspended license NOLO, 2023 DUI, possession of Schedule 2. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Harrison, what's the recommendation for Mr. Daly?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 29th, officers responded to 3900 Fulton Industrial Boulevard, which is the Quality Inn Hotel, due to someone sleeping on the sofa. When they arrived, they saw the defendant was sleeping on the sofa. They attempted to wake him, and he was a bit combative. He told officers to leave him alone when they asked to for him to identify who he was and why he was there. He started shouting that he is not giving officers anything as far as his identification, and tried to walk off and yelled and used offensive language. Officers had to deploy their taser to actually be able to detain him. The state's recommendations: a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, which is the Quality Inn Hotel, located at 3900 Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. That'll be all for the state.
Thank you. Mr. Shate?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Daly would like to ask for the lowest bond possible, including the possibility of a signature bond. He's 43 years old. He's lived in the Atlanta area for the past 3 years. He tells me that he has no family here, but he is a resident. He's a high school graduate and currently he's unemployed, but most recently he worked as a truck driver and he did that for about 2 years. He also tells me that he's been struggling a bit since his father passed away. He's been seeking treatment for certain mental health conditions, and he's also been undergoing substance abuse treatment for the past 2 weeks. And prior to that, for another 45 days at Atlanta Recovery Village. So for those reasons, Your Honor, we ask for the lowest bond possible, so at least he can continue getting treatment outside.
And does he have a Gwinnett hold at the present time?
I don't know, Your Honor.
This showing one on the booking screen.
Okay. On the criminal trespass is a 500 signature bond through the jail. On the disorderly conduct is a 500 surety bond. And the willful obstruction is a $500 signature bond through the jail. This is a $1,500 split bond. He is not to return to the Quality Inn Hotel. And once he posts bond, Gwinnett County will have to come pick him up. In the meantime, his case is going to be reset to July 3rd. Thank you.
Position number 7, Mr. Hodges.
Excuse me, Judge, is it any stay away or anything?
Yeah, stay away from the Quality Inn Hotel. I'm sorry, I didn't get the whole address. Ms. Harrison, do you have it?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 3900 Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Yes.
Fulton Industrial Boulevard? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Position.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. This is State versus Demetrius Kendrick, accused of criminal trespass from June 19 of this year. Accusation 25 CR 3438G. Kendrick, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. Geddes. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Kendrick, hold on.
Oh,
31.
Okay.
is that, I'm sorry, Deputy, is that Demetrius Kendrick?
It's really Bobby Demetrius Kendrick. I don't know why they just put my middle name. They use my middle name for my first name, but it's Bobby Demetrius Kendrick.
They switched him out, Your Honor.
So yeah, that ain't him.
Yes,
This is him. This is him.
All right, 31. He got an open burglary second degree, 24 SC 005 572. Open criminal damage to property second degree trespass, 24 SC 005 586. On probation, trespass, disorderly conduct. 2024, okay, that's that. 2023 probation, 2022 failure to appear, 2019 trespass, shoplifting conviction. So Rocky, you got the same thing?
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
it, Jay.
Okay, Mr. Ken and Mr. Scarapa, what is the recommendation from the state?
Yes, Judge. So this incident took place June 19th at 2500 Center Street, Northwest Atlanta. It's the Woodland Heights Apartments. Law enforcement was working off-duty job there and escorted property management during their scheduled monthly inspection of the residential units. During that walkthrough, it was discovered the defendant was present on the property despite having been previously issued a criminal trespass warning. He had been criminally trespassed previously on May 7th due to alleged involvement in criminal activity and thefts about the apartment complex. During that prior incident, he was identified as someone who didn't live on the property, but was in connection with these thefts, and he was issued that warning, was escorted off the premises. So when they observed him here, he was arrested in violation of that. There's slightly supplemental, but I mean, there's just documenting the history of trespass here. There's 2024 2023, 2018, 2010, 2007, and 2002. Those are all criminal trespass cases, arrests there. And as pretrial stated, you have that 2022 FTA. So due to the allegations of the previous theft here on the property and the defendant's history, there's a risk of reoffense into property. So state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from 2500 Center Street Northwest, Atlanta. Again, the Woodland Heights Apartments, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
Any objection, Mr. Geddes?
Your Honor, I would just ask you to impose the lowest possible bond. I don't know if there's anything lower than the 1,000 that you're able to do. He does not have a permanent address. He does not have stable income. Realistically, he's not going to be able to pay the $1,000 bond.
Can you do $100 cash bond?
Mr. Kendrick?
That would be what it'll take, considering his history and his open cases.
I think we would be fine with that, Your Honor.
Okay. Courtroom 2, please unmute. Mr. Kendrick, your bond is set at $100 cash bond only.
Oh, I have the money, Your Honor.
Well, you need to figure that one out. But you are, your next court date is going to be July 3rd. You are to stay 500 yards away, not 200, but 500 yards away from the entire apartment complex at Woodland Heights Apartments, 2500 Center Street in Northwest Atlanta. If you return to that location and you're arrested again, please be sure to bring $200 cash the next time, because it's just going to be very expensive for you to keep going back to that place.
Oh, can I get into a program with some of y'all?
I wouldn't suggest you to say anything further, Mr. Kendrick.
You definitely need to speak to your public defender attorney and consider what programs there are for you. We'll see you on July 3rd unless you bond out. Thank you.
Number 7, Hodges.
Cortez Hodges has also got a criminal trespass but damage to property as well from June 19th of this year. Accusation 25 CR 3433B. Mr. Hodges, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Mr. Che. Any priors?
29. History out of Wisconsin, Florida, Minnesota, Illinois. 2019 battery, 2014 and 13 failed to appear. 2011 resisting officer conviction. And I saw 06 FTA. That's it.
Miss Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 19th, officers responded to a call for shots fired at 668 Cameron and Alexander Boulevard. When they arrived, a man approached him, handed him his license, and stated, "I don't have anything to do with anything. I don't know anything." When he was asked if he knew why officers were at the location, he responded, "I don't care why you're here. I don't have anything to say to you." And by his license, he was identified as a defendant. After interacting with him, officers walked to apartment unit 2, and they observed the door's glass panes had been shattered out. They asked those people in that unit if they'd called the police, and Mr. Jalen George stated that he had. He had let his 2 small dogs out in the yard. His neighbor's pit bull was outside being aggressive with the puppies, and the neighbor was standing there doing nothing about it. So Mr. George and his girlfriend had to separate the dogs. After they separated the dogs and were walking back into their unit, they heard the neighbor, the defendant, state, "I'll fight all 3 of y'all." And then he went upstairs and grabbed what Mr. George believed to be a firearm and shot out the windows on their door. Officers asked Mr. George if they saw the firearm, and he did. He described it as a long black firearm, but he didn't know what type. Officers on the scene were unable to identify if the object breaking the actual glass of the door was from the firearm. And that's why the charge is the criminal trespass, Your Honor. But Mr. George did tell officers that he was on the couch when the shots went off. He wasn't sure how many it was, but he clearly could see the objects coming through the window and shattering the glass. The state's recommendation in light of the seriousness of this incident is a $10,000 surety bond. We're asking a stay away from the incident location, which in this case would be specifically Unit 2. No contact at all with the victims, which is Mr. Jalen George and his girlfriend, Ms. Heaven Eccles, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And we ask that the defendant surrender all firearms to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, and that'll be all for the state. We'll sound for Mr. Mr. George, I'm sorry, in the event that he joined us in court today. Thank you.
Jalen George or Heaven Eccles? All right, don't see anyone here. Mr. Chate?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hodges asks for the lowest bond possible. He's 43 years old. He's lived in Atlanta for 3 years now. He tells me that he has a doctor to take care of at home as well. He tells me that he has an associate's degree in business management and that for the past year or so, he's been working for his landlord as a cleanup crew member. And he also does grounds work. Given his ties to the Atlanta community, Your Honor, and a stable employment, I ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond.
Okay, thank you. The bond for this particular charge is going to be a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. He may return to the apartment complex, but he is to stay 10 yards away from Jalen George and Heaven Eccles, and which means that when they are outside the apartment, he has to be inside. Now, if he doesn't want this arrangement, then he has to vacate the entire apartment complex completely and provide us with a new address. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and he must surrender all firearms to the police. So within 72 hours of being released, he must take his firearms and go to the police station and surrender them and get a receipt so he can present to pretrial that his firearms have been surrendered. No, like I said, he is to stay at least 10 yards away from Jalen George and Heaven Eccles and their apartment. When they are outside the apartment, he cannot be there. And when they are in public property, like outside the apartment complex, then he has to stay 200 yards away from them and not communicate with them in any way, form, or manner. If he gets arrested again, if he fails to surrender his firearms, or if he violates the no contact provisions as provided by the court, his 3,500 signature bond will be revoked. Thank you. Deputy, next case.
All right. We can go to position 5, the waiver case.
Oh, this is the waiver? Okay. Roderick Eford is position number 5, case number 25 CR 3413J, accused of 2 counts of battery and 1 count of simple battery from June 18th of 2025. Mr. Roderick is not present, and his attorney, Mr. Chate. Mr. Chate, have you filed the waiver of presence?
I have, Your Honor.
All right. And any priors, Mr. Howard?
22. 25, 20, 24 probations, 24 simple assault DV, 24 another probation, 23 trespass conviction, 2018 interference with government property conviction, 2018 burglary, entering auto conviction,
That's
26.
good.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Soroka?
Thank you, Judge. So this incident took place June 18th of this year at 1388 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard in Atlanta. Law enforcement was dispatched to Grady Hospital, actually, in reference to a physical altercation. Upon arrival, made contact with the victim, Mr. Darius Gresham, who explained that the defendant, who he had known for roughly 4 to 5 months, had been with him since around 9 p.m. That day. As the night progressed, the victim attempted to take the defendant to his destination, but when he asked the defendant where he wanted to go, the defendant got upset with him and told him to just drive. When the victim said, I'm not going to drive anywhere without knowing where we're going, defendant proceeded to strike the victim in the right side of his face with a closed fist. He sustained from that visible swelling to his right eye And he also sustained a chipped tooth from the incident, for which he had to seek treatment. He feared for his safety and drove at a high rate of speed toward Grady Hospital, hoping to also find law enforcement there. And the defendant was subsequently taken into custody. We have spoken with the victim, and the victim explained to us that he had met the defendant around February. They typically went to the victim's son's sporting games and to restaurants. He explained that he only let the defendant to his residence once and doesn't believe a stay away is needed, but we will be asking for one. Out of an abundance of caution, the victim is requesting a no further contact from the defendant due to previous irate behavior, and explained that the defendant did not give a location to return to and got upset. So confirming the events of the warrant here, when he was asked for an address to be dropped off at, he explained that the defendant punched him in the face and also threatened to kill him if he decided to stop the vehicle. So the victim explained that he was driving at a high rate of speed to seek aid, but was unsuccessful even when arriving at Grady. So this took a minute. And he explained that Grady attempted to criminally trespass him due to their inability to see that he was seeking help from being assaulted with how frantic he was. I don't believe he's on the line. I believe he actually had a different.
Yes.
But is he? Okay, fantastic. If we could sound for him.
Okay.
I will note, if Preacher Alf, you mentioned this, apologies, but a simple assault, family violence arrest, and a simple battery, family violence arrest, the former being in 2024, the latter being in 2023, that the simple battery was dismissed, but as far as I'm aware, that simple assault, family violence is still open in Albany. With the defendant's history here, and you've heard quite a bit, including 2 prior violent cases, among a litany of others, the threats, the just erraticness of this sort of violence. State is seeking a $7,000 total surety, $3,000 surety for each battery count, and a $1,000 for the simple battery, 2-day anger awareness, no further contact with Darius Gresham, stay away from the victim's home address, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gresham, you're on Zoom. Did you want to contribute to the proceeding? You will need to unmute. I guess yes, no? Unmute. You need to unmute. Can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Does Mr. Eford live with you?
No, he do not live with me.
Okay. And when you went to the hospital, was he in the vehicle with you?
Yes, he would not leave the vehicle.
Okay. And would you like to continue having contact with him?
I don't want no contact with him at all.
All right. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you want to provide your address where he needs to stay away?
Sure. I can go ahead and provide that address right now.
Do you know how to use the chat?
Yes, you put it in the chat.
Put in the chat and direct that to
Miss Grace.
Miss Grace. The name would be LM/Melissa Grace.
Will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Miss Lewis, we may mute the screen for Mr. Gresham. Mr. Chate, anything to add?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Eford wanted to request the lowest bond amount possible. He is 27 years old. He tells me that he has been a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia, but that he moved to Atlanta just a couple months ago. He has a mother and his mother and his cousin live here in Atlanta. He's a high school graduate, and he informed me that he's currently unemployed and that most recently he worked as a housekeeper for a hotel, and that lasted only for a couple of months. And based on the information he gave me, Your Honor, I don't think he would be able to afford the bond amount that the state is asking for, so he asks for the lowest possible bond.
Does he live in Blakely, Georgia?
Yes, Your
Okay. On the battery charge is going to be $1,000 surety bond. The second count of battery is 500 and the simple battery is 500. It's a total of a $2,000 surety bond. Next court date is July 3rd. No contact with Darius Gresham. Stay away from wherever he's physically located, as well as his work and home addresses. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And we'll see him July 3rd unless he posts bond, but he'll need to make sure that the Blakely, Georgia address is his current address where he will receive his summons. Thank you. All right. Courtroom 2, could you give us an update on position 2 and 6, please?
Position number 2 gonna be reset. Position number 6. That you did position number 6. She was the female over there at ACDC from yesterday.
I'm sorry. Oh, Samantha Harley? I did. When did I do that?
You gave her 1,000 good and 1,000 SOB.
Oh, this was the one from yesterday. Okay, got it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sorry. Okay. All right.
And Your Honor, can I ask courtroom 2 what the reset is for COER so we can write that down?
MH, mental health.
Okay, thank you.
Judge.
Are we resetting course to the SAP or to the C calendar on June 21st?
Well, he hasn't
Tomorrow.
actually had a first appearance, so C calendar for the 21st.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Howard?
Unless the defense can get a waiver.
So they had a gentleman yesterday. I think it was Jermaine Lee, one of them Lees. They gave, I think Morrow gave him pretrial. He refused to sign out through pretrial.
Okay.
Frederick Lee, and that was my case.
Yeah. So
Let me address that very shortly. I just want to release folks who don't need to be here, but let me just go into the current calendar. So for position number 1, I had $1,000 surety, reset date July 3rd. Position 2, COER is reset to the C calendar on June 21st, unless we get a waiver of presence for Mr. COER. 3, Colton, that's a $6,000 surety bond, reset date July 3rd. Position 4, Daly, is a 1,500 split bond, reset July 3rd. Position 5, Efforts, a $2,000 surety bond, reset July 3rd. 6, Harley, her total bond is a $2,000 split bond, and her reset date is July 3rd. Position 7, Cortez Hodges, and that's going to be a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Position 8, Holmes, and that was a $6,000 surety bond, reset date July 3rd. And I believe this is the one where he's required to have an ankle monitor for 12 months.
That's correct.
Okay. Position 9, Jackson's, a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial with 2 anger awareness, level 2. Position 10, Johnson's, a 1,500 surety, reset date July 3rd. 11, Kendrick is going to be a $100 cash bond only, reset date July 3rd. 12, Sims is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, no violent contact with a DBIP requirement. Position 13, Bright, is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. And 14 is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date July 3rd. Okay, the only other case I'm going to address is Jermaine Lee. May I have the case number, please?
Your Honor.
25C.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, pretrial.
25 CR 003 418H.
418H. Okay, give me a moment.
And Your Honor, the defendant is Frederick Lee.
Oh, sorry, Frederick Lee. Okay. And would you happen to have this GCIC by any chance? Mr. Howard?
Pretty late. I think I deleted it. Yeah, I got it. It's fifth arrest. He was arrested last year on murder for battery and obstruction, 4 counts of obstruction. 2024 failure to appear. 2024 disorderly conduct obstruction. And the booking has a resident out of South Carolina.
And did Mr. Shate or Mr. Geddes represent him yesterday?
No, Your Honor, it was, I believe, Miss Rosenhuber represented him yesterday. It was different attorneys on
Okay.
yesterday's calendar.
All right. And Mr. Howard, is it pretrial's position that he's refusing to sign the necessary paperwork to?
Be released? Yes.
Okay. All right. Based on this representation.
And they tried yesterday when they do the normal release. Then somebody went this morning to talk to him. He said no.
All right. Miss Grace, we are going to amend this bond to $1,000 good bond. Same conditions, stay away from the North Fulton Court Libraries, stay away from 1332 Metropolitan Parkway. And I can't make up was that a social worker visit? He needs a social worker.
Yes, Your Honor, he does need a social worker visit.
And his case is going to be further notice to July 3rd.
Well, can I get the case number and the correct name, please?
The correct case number for this is 25 CR 003418H, booking number 2511074. Count 1 is criminal trespass. This would be an amended order for bond, $1,000 surety. And we'll reset him to July 3rd as well. All right, any other questions, folks?
None from the state.
All right, everyone, enjoy your Friday. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.
You on for tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
See you there, Judge.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.